Hey Ian, you ready?
You bet I am. What are we talking about tonight? And talk about guns?
If it's not a 30 cal, I'm not in.
Jeez, mate, that's not very inclusive. Have you seen Jono?
Hey Jono, you ready?
Well, God knows where he is, mate. He's probably caught up in the neighbour's wire again. Are you ready to go? Let's do this.
Mate, I'm ready. Let's crank it up.
Righto then. Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of the Hunter's Campfire, where we're going to talk about all things hunting and the great outdoors. And we'll probably throw in a few tips along the way.
You want a tip? Say it once, say it 1,000 times. Goats love rocks.
Or a few things about deer. Mark, what do you reckon about deer?
As a deer hunter, I love hunting pigs.
Well, that's about as useful as I expected it to be. Oh, check it out. Here comes Jono. He's being chased by the neighbour's dog.
Okay guys, let's get this started. Welcome to the Hunter's Campfire. Pull up a chair, get comfortable. It's time for the Hunter's Campfire.
And good hunting.
Good evening, gents.
That was a trivia question, wasn't it?
Yes, and it's nice to be known as a guest.
Well, welcome back.
Did we say guest?
Yeah, he did. That's why everyone was going, which guests are they talking about?
Yes,
Even
well.
I was going, but we've only had like a couple of repeat guests.
Well, I think that's for later podcast. We'll cover that one.
Not tonight. Fair enough.
Not
tonight. It is all things
Red deer.
Red deer.
Or
It's been a good season, gentlemen.
Has 3 for 3.
The trifecta, in fact.
So
Who would have thought?
technically, what we got I got a 5-4. What'd you get, John?
5-4.
No, I got a 5-6.
Yeah,
You
I got a 5-4.
So I got a 5-11, and you got a 9. That's 20 pointer. What'd you get, Ian?
Oh, 11.
Oh, 11, a 31 pointer for the team.
If we just strap all of those buggers together and hang
Just
them up.
glue them together.
Yeah. Mine needs bigger brow tines. What did you get?
I got a Brisbane Valley Roughie that actually wasn't as rough as I first,
come
as
up
I
all right.
expected. He wasn't so rough. He's a bit spindly, but that's pretty typical up there. And when he's got a break, just like that one there. They seem to break up there. They must be scrappy.
Very scrappy. Yeah, for me it was just a 5-4, just a scrappy head.
It wasn't small, though, was it, Jono? It was pretty tall.
Yeah, he had some length to him. He wasn't that old. I think he was. We aged him at 7.5. So on the blocks that I shoot on, we have to shoot the minimum age of 6.5. So he was a legal stag. He wasn't as big as I'd hoped. I was hoping for something 6'5", 6'6", but it was a tough week for me. And I saw him on the last morning, and I ummed and ahed whether I was going to take him. In the end, I thought, I've hunted hard. I'm going to take him. He's legal, so I took him. So
Good
that's what we
job.
would classify as a mid-range stag for me. Not a trophy, a mid-range.
Well, mine was a trophy for me. He certainly wasn't of trophy caliber to most, but he was an old bruiser. He was a beast of an animal, smashed up. He'd been fighting. He'd been carved to bits. He was just old, like seriously old. So he'd been sitting up on the top of the hill for ages. So he was perfect. After you're looking around at various different ones over 3 days, I was stoked to catch up with him. I had no idea what his caliber was going to be like until like the last minute of that hunt, of course, but it worked out pretty well for us. But we'll get into the detail of that in a minute. But yeah, I was pretty. I'm really chuffed with it. I'm really happy with the whole process, the whole outcome. Got some cool video coming out about it, so you'll be able to follow along in high definition glory when I finish the edit. It's gonna be fun.
Yes, looking forward to it. So how should we proceed? Do we need to cover off on anything before we get into red deer? Is there any news?
There's so much news, but we try not to. Try not to share it all straight away. Because we've done red deer and we've done fallow deer and we've done hunt camp and we've done all sorts of things. But we can't talk all about it in one go.
Yeah. Okay.
Can
If
we?
there's no news other than those things that we want, let's jump
Yeah,
into
I mean, it's probably worth you talking about your recent jaunt down south because
I
that's
can talk about that.
current events and that should be discussed. Looks like you had a ball.
It's pouring down rain here. It's pouring down rain.
Yeah.
So I was invited by SSAA National, who I write for. So they're where the magazines, Australian Shooter, Australian Hunter, the Pistol Magazine, the Great Outdoors, and the other publications come out of South Australia. And I've been writing for them since 2010, so this is the first time I've actually been down there. So it was pretty exciting. And the reason we went down is that the new CEO of SSAA National, Tom, is a lefty, and there's actually another writer, Paul Miller, who writes. He's a shotgunner and a trout fisherman. So we've been talking about that a lot. He's a lefty. So we did a lefty special. So we had ended up having 7 firearms and 7 plus 2. There was actually a couple of private ones brought along as well, but 7 from different manufacturers / suppliers here in Australia, and 3 .22 long rifles and 4 centerfire rifles. And we went down to a range in South Australia and had a test day, like, what they do with the cars, like the 7 best utes or whatever, that kind of thing. So we had a bit of a criterion to shoot, 5 rounds off the bench and then 5 rounds however you wanted to shoot. It's going to be a series of videos because there's a fair bit of material covered, and also a series of articles. So I'm on a writing schedule now to get my version out, so everyone will have a part to play in that. I got a new nickname, Buckets, because I drink buckets of coffee.
Buckets.
Right.
I thought, okay, sure, I'll live with that. And so, great day. Shot couple of, I had to when I was doing the video interviews, I had to be honest and say, when they go, would you buy this rifle? I already own it. Would you buy this rifle? Yeah, I already own it. Would you buy this rifle? So there was technically 3 that I already...
A cup of coffee.
There was only 3. There was technically 3 that I already owned. There was a Tikka hunting rifle, the Aspire. I don't own an Aspire, but, it's a T3X. They had the T1X, which I own, and they had a BRX, which I own. And so the others were CZ, which I have owned, but don't own anymore. Got to shoot a Lithgow. Have yet to shoot. That was the first time. The crossover is only available in left-hand in 22 and centerfire. Seen people use them, never shot one. So that was quite interesting. And the other centerfire, they had a Savage Impulse, which is Savage's version of a straight pull. Just
not the same.
Just too complicated, man. It was just really, I just don't know.
It's a straight pull. It's supposed to be simple.
Yeah, but it's not. It was. You might know this, John. I know Ian won't know, but you might know. Do you ever seen an FN49? They're an auto-loading rifle.
Yes, Fabricam, whatever they are.
Yeah, the Belgians made for their time in Africa. You know how they had that really kind of weird action? You look at them and kind of go, yeah, I can see that it shoots really well, but it's really weird. That's kind of how the Savage was with me. I was just going, I can understand what it does, but man, it just goes around in a really weird way. But for me, the thing that really kind of got opened my eyes was Tikka T3X TAC. I've never shot a tactical rifle, never been interested in a tactical rifle. I want to own a tactical rifle. I want to own a tactical rifle.
Done. They've advertised to you, and they've got the right people. And
yes, I want to own it. 6.5 Creedmoor. My goodness me, that thing shot.
He's going to have to grow a ponytail now.
Man, I shoot ponytails off. Man, that thing can shoot.
Yeah, if I could grow up a ponytail, I'd Creedmoor too.
Wow, what a shooter. And with the
ponytail, so I'm safe.
And I had the Boris, the new Veracity on it.
Oh.
It's a big turret. Dial in, bing, bing. Shooting, touching, things like that. You go, holy moly, this thing can shoot. Yeah, it was really, wow. And
do you need a moment? You okay?
Yeah, it was pretty special. Everyone had never shot tactical rifle before, and everyone's going, my God, I want this rifle. I want to own this rifle. I want to own it. And we were saying, how can we get it on the plane? How can we get it out of South Australia?
Well, it's not hard. Just listen to one of our previous podcasts.
That's right. That's right.
We know people.
I know people. In fact, I gave some advice to how to get that when you go to the airport, if you have rifles, get their attention.
And you get moved to the front of the
That's right. They get moved in front of you because you're a problem.
They want to try to get rid of you. That's
it. So, I was just super impressed with that. Look, it's massive. It weighs like, I don't know, as I said, you could do curls with the thing, but in its prone position or its resting position, it just bang, and the trigger's this really long draw and pull. What's the thing?
Has it got the skeleton stock and things?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that,
It's in a chassis, big long chassis,
stock,
and the stock. So from the pistol grip back is very AR like, and the stock actually fold. I don't know why the stock folds up for some reason. I don't know why, but it does.
so you can carry it.
It's like it's like a 24-inch pistol. It's got a pistol grip, and that's right, and it's infinitely adjustable. But yeah, so from the pistol grip back, it's very AR like, and the pick rail goes all the way down on the shroud over the chassis, so you can have
whatever you want on it.
5 different optics hanging off at various angles and lights and all sorts of stuff. It was fantastic.
Cool.
And the output of your adventure is going to be seen somewhere in a magazine sometime soon.
So it'll be in Australian Shooters. So there'll be a series of articles and a series of videos that will go along with it all.
All of us are pinging at the same time.
That's right. Get rid of that.
That means it's Frank.
It's the Frank. It is the Frank.
Frank.
Yep.
That's Frank. Yeah. So, yes, haven't got a date yet, but obviously when it gets close, I'll let everyone know. But, yeah, series of articles. Actually, I know when the articles will come out. The July edition of Australian Shooter is the Lefty Special. And I've written, that's why I'm under the pump, because this is the final article to go in. So I've written an article about lefty options. I've written an article about a lefty build, which is my 3006. I've done a piece in my column about lefties, and I think my lefty options is called "Welcome to the Leftorium" for you Simpson fans out there.
Inspired by a post I saw about.
Well, no, I wrote about that a long time ago, but that's it. Yes, where everyone's talking about the Leftorium. Nettie Flanders Leftorium.
Of course, he's left-handed.
That's right.
He had to be, wouldn't he?
That's it.
Good old Ned.
That's it.
Woody and Ned. There's some new nicknames for you, Mark. I know Woody's been around for a while. But
Woody's a good one. Woody works.
Ned. Needs to grow. If you grow a tash, Mark, you're.
Yeah, no, not in the facial hair.
Movember, we'll wait for it. We'll all sponsor you for Movember to grow.
No, don't do that. Look like it should be Robin Banks.
Yeah.
Looks like there should be numbers under them. Every photo should have numbers under it.
God, it's so much better than shaving.
Oh, God, yeah.
My wife hasn't talked to me for a year, though. It's quiet around here. Anywho.
That's my big, and I got back today. So, yeah, 2 days down. Adelaide's a very nice place.
I like Adelaide.
It's very pretty. Went up in the Adelaide Hills. Very pretty. Dry, though, man. Man, dry.
Oh, really?
Holy moly. Drove past the Botanic Gardens. I thought it was the Pilliga.
I'll be there in 3 weeks.
I said I reckon there's probably goats there who are probably hunting those gardens.
Did you catch up with our buddy Zach?
No, that's unfortunately not, but I am online catching up with him next week. We're going to do a podcast with Zach next week.
Happy days. Well, that'll be good.
Well, I'm there. As I said, I'm there in 3 weeks. I'll see if Zach may be available. Hainesy's available for a beer.
Nice.
There we go.
Social. All right. What else going on? I was going to take you on a field trip, but podcast app hasn't uploaded on my phone yet. I reckon the stinky head that's in the bucket outside that door is so freaking gross. You'll be able to smell it through the phone.
Oh,
So I got back from hunt camp, and I was told by my lovely wife that something was really, really smelly, and the neighbours were sticking their head over the wall to see what was going on.
Seeing if someone's dead in the backyard.
That she had to put it into the shed. And then, so the morning that I got back, Adam's my 9-year-old son, he wanted to go get a screwdriver out of the shed. And so I gave him the key, and I'm still lying in bed. I was tired. I got back late on Saturday night, and I'm lying there, and you hear the key open, and you hear the door open, and all of a sudden you hear like this dry retching. I was like, there we go. There it is. I was waiting for it. I even said to Joe, I said, wait for it. You just hear this. So yeah, it's not out of the shed, but it's actually it's a bit fragrant, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I've got mine in a bucket with water, and then I've got a plastic bag over it, which I've gaffer taped
open air.
I've got neighbours too close, so
compared to. I've given it a water change or two.
I haven't done. This weekend is it for me.
This weekend's gurney day.
Yeah, well, that's it. I'm going to do first gurney and water change this weekend.
Well, I mean, you got yours down to the skull. Mine's still got all the meat on it.
Okay. I tell you what I do have, though. I got 3 dog skulls.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, and I just threw them straight in a bucket. Yeah. I don't know what they're going to be like. I got 3 of them.
Well, I know 2 of them have been hanging there for.
Oh yeah, they were. One of them. One of them was quite leathery.
One of them was a year. When I know the other one, I know one of them was there when we went in December. But yeah, that's pretty good. I'm glad you thought of that.
I quite well. Boy said, "Oh, what's that?" I said, "There's dogs." And he goes, "Is there a dog skull there?" And I went, "Almost positive, mate." And then I said, "Oh, I wouldn't mind one of them myself." And I thought, "Graham, do you want a dog skull?" I said, "Yeah." So we grabbed all three.
It's a good idea. I wish I'd thought of that.
All right,
So
let's talk about red deer. Take it away, Jono. Talk us through it.
Go for it, Jono.
Yeah, cool. No problem.
Didn't get stuck this year. Well, you did get wet, though.
We got wet. So, yeah, the week, I think, we were all hunting the same week. I had the first 2 days, so I got into my block up in the Brisbane Valley on the Sunday. Scorching hot day, really hot, really humid. Monday was the same. Made hunting hard and hot and unpleasant, but we had a couple of roars. I mean, I went out Sunday afternoon, so I got onto the block, set up camp, and it's the same the same place that I camped 2 years ago, down in the creek where I shot this 5.5. It's the same property.
Yeah, I thought it was the same place.
It was the same place, yep, although I was in a different block this time. So last time I was right up at the top over the back. This time I was sort of on this side of one of the big gullies running up, but I had to cross the creek to get in there. That runs through the property. So anyway, on the first afternoon, got in, set up camp, and I thought I'd just go for a bit of a walk. And within, I guess, half an hour of me walking up, I had a stag roaring and tried to find him, couldn't find him, went back down the gully, went up the other side because he's up on the opposite face, and I got to within probably 15, 20 meters of him. I got some really good footage, which I'll put up of him. I think I put one up on the first afternoon of
I think you did. I was just trying to find it on Facebook.
Yeah, no, it's there. I definitely put up that one, but I got some other footage as well. So I sort of got within 15, 20 meters of him, and he was just roaring his head off. And but he wasn't a shooter. He was just a young 4.4, which he was vocal. It was good fun, but I thought, well, I'm in for a cracking week. This sounds really good. Went out the next morning and it was very quiet. I found most of the stags weren't roaring in the mornings up there. I don't know if it's any different by you, but for us, evenings is when they came out and roared. Most days, mornings were quiet. The Monday was hot, very hot. Saw deer, saw sign, had stags roaring. I stalked up on another stag, but he had some hinds with him, but the wind wasn't great for me, and they got my scent, but I got a good look at him. Again, wasn't a shooter. Lots of young stags around on that property that I was on. Very, very few older stags. I think they were still sitting up high, but lots of stags roaring. On Tuesday, we had a cool change come through, which kind of changed things up a little bit, but still, they weren't really firing. Wednesday morning, I hunted. I got really close to 2 stags that were roaring, one of which sounded like quite a good one from his roar, but I got busted probably about 30, 40 meters from the stag. I hadn't seen him yet. He was just over this little ridge. I could hear him roaring just over, and as I came round, there was a hind lying in the lantana right in that gully, and she busted me, so that blew me, and she ran down the hill and barked, and that was it. I didn't hear that stag again, and then the rain hit. So we had all Wednesday afternoon of rain, and then all Thursday morning up until about lunchtime was rain, just non-stop. I think we had 55 mil, if I remember correctly, up there. But the issue that I had is I had to cross the creek to get up into my block. And of course, all that rain meant that the creek came up. So you couldn't cross it. It was too hard, too deep, flowing too quickly. That meant I was completely rained out of my block. There was actually someone who was actually reined in. So he was in the block that I was last year up at the top, and he was fly camping up there. So he couldn't get out. He was stuck up there. So he had to stay and hunt. Luckily, he was okay, but he couldn't get back across the creek. So on Friday afternoon when I left, he came down to the creek to see if he could cross it, and it was impossible. So he had to camp on the creek bank for the last night because he couldn't get out. That's how high the water came up. So I had to find somewhere else to hunt. On this property, we get allocated a block. That's your area for the week. You can work it. You can, talk to other people.
How much space?
So if I remember correctly, it was 15,000 acres. So I probably got maybe 1,000 or 2,000 acres to myself. Yeah. It's a big area. So to lose that it's tough, but there is other areas, but you have to then coordinate with people who may have been assigned that area. So there was 8 hunters on the property at the same time as me.
Wow.
But it's a big property. There's some people were given 3 blocks because they were smaller or whatever. And when I say block, it's just
allocations. Yeah.
Allocation, correct.
It's a chunk of dirt.
So there were some guys that were there that were allocated to 3 blocks. They hadn't been in that block. They weren't going to go into that block. They were hunting the one next to it. So I just coordinated with them, and they let me go in there. I went on the Thursday afternoon, didn't hear any roaring, didn't see any deer, saw some sign, but nothing was going on. And then Friday morning, which is the last day, so we have to leave on the Friday. I thought, I'll just go for one walk. I'll go for a quick walk up the hill. Got up there, all of a sudden the stag roaring hard. Walked all the way up to where he was. I had to go all the way along the ridge line and then drop down into this really, really steep gully. And he was just roaring. As I'm coming down the gully to him, I spotted another deer and was a stag standing there rubbing his antlers. And I looked at him and he was a 5'4", and I thought, he's a shooter. He's not as big as I thought he would be, or I wanted. It's been a tough week. Do I shoot him? Do I not shoot him? Just watched him. He didn't know I was there. And yeah, I just sat there for probably 10 minutes just looking at him, just trying to decide what to do. The other stag was still roaring at the bottom of the hill, but I thought if I go down any further, he's going to spook. He's going to chase that one away, and I'm going to walk away with nothing. So I decided to shoot him. So I shot him, which is actually the first deer that I've shot with the Benelli Lupo. I did put that post up as well, the first blood, which is a good shot on the shoulder. And it was raining, so I got wet for the second time that week. So can you believe it?
All the lucky things in one hunt.
Correct.
It's a good sign of life, a wet lupo.
A wet lupo with a dead deer. So yeah, it performed perfectly. The Socko 150 grains that I was using, again, perfect shot. Did
Game
take me
heads?
time. The game heads. Yeah.
They're good, eh? That's what I was using.
Yeah. It took me a little bit of time to find him because it was so steep. And I shot him and I saw him come back on his back legs and fall backwards and roll. And because it was so steep, he went rolling down.
Chested him.
And the lantana was so thick, I struggled to find him. But I was on the radio with the other guy that I was sharing the block with, and he was up on the other side of the ridge. And after I shot mine, I could still hear the other one roaring.
Mm-hmm.
So I radioed this guy and saying, hey, mate, there's another stag down here. If you want to come and get him, obviously he's let me onto his block. So I'm trying to help him out. He hadn't shot a deer either. So I told him where it was. And so I just waited in my spot and just sort of hunkered down. And he came down the ridge line and he went and chased that stag. And he said it was a big monster stag, but he didn't get him, unfortunately. The Hans, he went off running, chasing after the Hans. So unfortunately, he didn't get them. So I eventually walked down, found my deer. It took me a little while, but I found him lying up against some thick lantana. Butchered him out, put him in the pack, and then I had to pack him out. And then old mate who I had told to go down the track called me on the radio. Said, "Hey mate, turn around." So I turned around, and I could see him coming up the ridge line. And so we spoke about his hunt, and he said, "Oh, I didn't get it." He goes, "Oh, I'm screwed, so I'm pulling out. I'll see you back at camp." And he buggered off and left me to pack this deer out. Didn't even offer to help. So yeah, so I ended up packing this thing out, which was a challenge. I mean, that mystery ranch pack that I got was fantastic, brilliant. I put both back legs, both back straps, plus I had my gear in there. I did strap a shoulder to the sort of the front, I guess you would call it, but it was just too heavy. Once I put the antlers on my shoulder, I couldn't get up that hill. So I took the shoulder off, took the head off, and walked up the hill, got to the ridgeline, dropped the pack, dropped the rifle, went back down, got the head, got the shoulder, came back up to the ridgeline, and then I had about a 5K walk back to camp. Most of it was just along that ridgeline, a couple of big uphills where I almost fell over a couple times, but I eventually got back to camp. I thought I'd be back at camp at 9, and I told my wife I'd be pulling out at 12 and I'd be home by 2. I didn't get back to camp until 12, didn't finish up packing camp until about 4, didn't leave the property until 6, and didn't get home until 8. So yeah, that's what happens when you shoot deer on the last day. But am I disappointed? No, great hunt.
What time are you going to be home? I don't know.
Yes.
You're going to hold me.
Not late. I think my
time before
not
midnight.
late. Not late.
I blocked the day.
No,
out.
look, great condition animal. I think it was still early rut.
Yeah.
Or early raw, because this thing had tons of fat, was still in good condition. He was smelly, but yeah, still plenty fat on him, good meat quality. So I'm glad I packed all that meat out. It's still actually wet aging in the fridge at the moment. I dry aged it in the fridge for a week, and then I boned it out, put it into primary cuts, vac sealed it back in the fridge, and it's been in there for 2 weeks. So tomorrow morning, what did I shoot it on the Friday? So it's been 3 weeks today. No, 3 weeks tomorrow. So it'll be 3 weeks wet age. Or 3 weeks of aging. So tomorrow morning, I'll finish that butchery and then get in the freezer. So I think it'll be good eating. Looks good. Nice.
And what are you doing with the head? Euro?
Yeah, I'll Euro it. I've got the full skull. I'm doing for the first time the immersion as we spoke about earlier with the
maceration.
Shed. So maceration method. Yep. So giving that a try. It's a bit smelly, but hopefully the outcome is worth it. So I've always boiled mine. Never had an issue, but I do know that nose bones can get quite fragile, especially with the gurney on them and things like that. So we'll see how this one goes. I can walk in the shed now, so that's a good sign. I'm a bit nervous about lifting off the plastic bag, but I'll give it another week and we'll see how we go.
Mm.
Yeah.
Don't spill it.
No, I don't even know where to put it. That's the problem. I might dig a hole in the garden or something.
What, the water? We spoke about this last time, didn't we, mate? I said kick it in the gutter, and you said no, that's bad.
Well,
You shouldn't.
yeah, you shouldn't.
Well, it's a town. I don't know.
Because
Town
it's
shouldn't.
water and it flows to the creek.
No, it doesn't matter where you live. You shouldn't pour that into the gutter. If you have a gutter, now if you live in a place where you don't have gutters, I'll accept that you can kick it. But if there's a gutter,
Mine's on the veranda, just out the back of my office. I just kick it off the veranda, and it goes on the
that's
lawn.
okay. Yeah, but if there's a gutter, that's probably
It's
not a
bad.
good thing to pour into.
I could have sworn.
But
it
you
was
also don't have
water.
neighbours anywhere very
That's
close.
what I mean. So I don't care how close they are. If there is a gutter, that means there is a pipe
Right.
leading somewhere. Probably not a good idea to kick that in.
So where do you dump yours, Mike? In
Just
the
to
garden?
quickly get the horribleness away
I'll
from
tell.
your house.
I got a whole new system.
Okay.
So, any more from Jono before we go?
No, I'm keen.
Well, I have
Yeah, that's
questions, but it's to the greater audience, the group here, rather than just Jono. So, it sounds awesome, and it was really cool keeping in touch on the Zolios.
Yeah, it was cool.
No,
Because, I mean,
it's
as the
good
crow
roll
flew,
out.
we weren't that far apart. We were pretty
No.
close.
No, I was out and I got the message. Stag down. I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, it must be good because he said he was going for double sevens.
Yeah, no, I didn't
Oh,
find
yeah.
him, unfortunately. But yeah,
Actually, I think you said you were going for 5.6s, weren't you?
5.6 or a 6.6, and
I said,
then I crumbled, unfortunately.
Jeff is here.
And then I got Jeff 2.0.
So Jeff is here.
But
T-shirt
interestingly,
collar.
I will say, so as the crow flies, where I shot my double 5 to where I shot this 5.4 is probably was on this side of the gully, and he was on the
Yeah.
other side of the valley. So as if I drew a straight line between them, it was probably 500 meters, and they have the same fork on the one side. Exactly.
Yeah,
the
that's
same
common.
fork.
eh?
So I'd say they're related,
Slowly wiping
which is
out
cool.
that family.
So I've got the 5.4, then I got the 5.5. Now I need the 6.5, and then the 6.6.
Mhm.
Which I reckon the other one down in that gully is probably a big one by the sounds of it, and that's going to be my target next year.
Hold that thought. I want to talk about the big one once we've gotten through the 3 hunts.
Okay.
Right?
Mike, what's
So-
your
Tell us about the sweaty bottom of the Mary Valley.
Brisbane Valley, but man, it was sweaty. Man,
Brisbane.
it's horrible. So I rolled out of here sometime very early on Wednesday morning, technically. So packed up Tuesday afternoon, rolled out here Wednesday morning. Got up there drove all the way up in the rain, just like the last 3 or 4 years. Same. Got up there, was kind of drizzly. AccuWeather was predicting a storm at 10 o'clock. So I did that, got ready so basically pulled into the house block as quiet as I could because I'm driving in someone's yard at 3:30 in the morning, something like that, trying to be quiet. Got myself ready. First, I crossed over into the first paddock, still before first light, wait for the light to come up because I didn't want to bump anything. Moved out. It was really humid. It felt like it was going to rain then, but it stopped, but it was really humid. I could hear roaring up on the hill, which is not a part I've got access to. And I thought, hang on, I might be in for a repeat of 2023 where they were all up on the hill and they didn't come down. So got into it, followed the first ridge line, first gully that kind of runs east-west. And just as I kept going up, I kept on hearing more stags, but they were all on the other side of the wire at distance. And I was trying to get a beat on them, actually, trying to see if I could see them. And then I heard one that was decidedly closer, still on the kind of like on the same, if you will, contour style line, but closer. So up on the hill, but further down the hill, not behind me or anything like that. So I thought, okay, this one's dropping down. So I kept pushing on through that heavy scrub, started to find some really nice sign on the block as well. Just kept moving, got to the top, had a good breather. It was still only a couple of hours of light in the day. Crossed over into the next property, so crossed over on the boundary line. And I'd heard about 5 or 6 different stags, and by that time they were just all kind of in this line. Got down to a very well-known wallow that I've shot more than a couple of deer off over the years. Got down there, nothing there. I thought, okay, that's going to give me the opportunity to move, because once I get down to that wallow, though, if you will, the gullies kind of change profile. So now they become north-south, so you're kind of going up and down and crossing them. Trouble is, if they're in the first one, you can't get to the second one because the way the wind is. So got there, sat down on the hill, and all of a sudden there's one close. And I mean, 200 metres away, but that's close. It's on the block. It's here somewhere. Sat down, listened, watched, saw some movement. Thought, oh, here he comes, stag. Actually ended up being a hind. And afterwards on the trail camera, because I had trail camera running on the wallow that was still running that they run. And when I looked at it over the next over the couple of days, that hind appeared about 3 days ago before the shot on that wallow. So that hind had dragged those stags down into that, so it was a hind, and all of a sudden there were stags there. So lots of roaring, really good, good vocalization. Sounded like there was two close and one further away. The ones I could hear that behind me, I could still hear them very distantly, but there was two close. One sounded young. I know that sounds a bit odd for people who haven't done this before, but there is a distinct, I can't exactly describe it, but you can kind of tell if it's a larger stag or a younger stag. It's not that they roar. I think they roar differently. It's hard to describe. I've been trying to figure out how to describe it, but you kind of go, okay, that sounds young. I don't know if that makes sense, but you kind of go, that sounds young. So eventually stag came out, and as I jokingly said, we did that meme where there was one deer that was, Maximus. The other deer was Jeff, and my block has traditionally been a Jeff block. And he came and actually thought, he's not too bad at all. Watched him come down. The video's out on YouTube. It does look a bit deceiving. It looks like it's more flat, but because the cameras, they're about 120 meters away. They're looking down, and they're on the lip of a deepish wallow. So they're walking around the lip of it, as it were. Waited for the stag to show themselves, looked like a shooter, and I said, okay, this is it. Lined him up, got down, set the big camera up, moved a little off to get the shot. Look for the clear light, the shooting lane between the trees and all the cover. Fired a heart lung type shot, so a body shot. Hit, turned, was down in 15 meters. Not even that. It
was a pretty quick timeline. I was just reviewing our conversation on the Zolio. I've inquired. You've come back to me at 7:47 a.m. Lots of roaring, possibly 5 separate stags all up, but they're up high. So that was at 7:47.
Yeah.
At 7:50, you were obviously bored because you told me you'd bought the DJI flip drone, so that was cool. Thanks for the news update there. And then at 7:53, so 3 minutes later, sounds like stags are moving closer. 18 minutes later, Jeff is here.
Yeah.
And then half an hour after that, Jeff is down.
Yeah. That first one was probably me summarising what had been happening to that point, because that was the first point where I stopped and got the stuff out type thing.
Got it.
That's it.
But still from...
Yeah,
the updates came in pretty quick.
So the first one, I would have been sitting there. That would have been when I'm sitting on that wallow. So whatever that was when I was sitting on the wallow to the shot, that was a period of time I was on that wallow. Because I don't think I said anything until I got there. Because I was just moving up to that point.
Pretty short timelines though. Pretty quick.
Yeah.
That was the first morning.
Yeah, he was done, dusted, finished, carrying on, back for coffee.
Shot him, put him in the dirt. Down he went down, looked at the what was the shot time?
Jeff is here was at 8:18. Jeff is down was at 8:42.
Yeah, so I was down with would have been down there 9 o'clock ish. Looked up, thought, it's going to start raining. So I've got one of those Cedar Summit poncho / flies. They're like a big poncho that you can make into a fly. So I laid that on the ground and put everything on top of that and thought I'm going to get caught out here. So I put everything on top of that and then flipped it over and got to work. Got the 4 quarters, back straps, and got the head off, loaded it into the Tonka with everything else, and then went, I can't get the head on here as well. So I'm going to have to come back for that. So I don't know how much weight that was, but it was pretty heavy. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do the quick march here, which means I'm going to walk straight out on the flats, and basically I'm going to angle straight towards the road so I can hit the fence line and walk along the road through the flats. The only problem with so if I went the other way, I would have had to go through the gullies. The only problem with going down the flats is eventually I get to a locked steel gate, and I'm going to have to get over that steel gate. So I got down there, put the rifle flat, passed it through, and thought, should I take this pack off or not? And I thought, no, I'll keep the pack on. So I did this. I went on there, and there was at the top. When I went over the top, I went, oh, here we go.
Yeah, and just went...
I'm just going to get a bit crocodile rolled off here, but I managed to hang on. Oh, Jesus!
That was me down the hill.
It was like the pack's shifted and gone. get the leg over. Got on, and then and by that time the rain had kicked. The AccuWeather prediction was about half an hour late. By about 9:30, it kicked in, and I had to stop on the way. I heard a truck go past on the road. I go, I'm close. I know where it is, but I could hear it. So mine said, you're close. So I sat down, had a breather, figured out a way to sit down, and figured a way to get back up with the pack on. Just kept walking, got to the very last gate. It was pouring down rain by then. The cows were all near the gate. It was mud. I had these visions of me falling over in that mud, dropping my rifle, flipping around with this 40 kilos on my back like some kind of dying turtle type thing. Managed to tiptoe through it without falling over. I was going through really slow. This is it. I'm going to be stuck here.
It did amuse me. It did amuse me because you put a couple of posts up about the big pack out. It's like, aren't you hunting on like a 50-acre block? It's like 25 meters.
It's not 50 acres, no. It would be nice, but you don't usually get that kind of deer on 50 acres.
Righto. Okay.
But you had to go across the flats. I wish I had
across the flats.
Yeah, that's it. So I did. I went.
A story about Polaris packouts.
Oh, that's it. Well, that's the joy of the year before. So the first time I ever shot on that property during the rut, which was last year, I shot that roughie in the rain. Then I heard the vehicle coming up. And it was a property owner, and he goes, I forgot you were here.
Well, you're here.
And he's like, I forgot you were here. And I said, yeah. And he goes, I thought some bastard was poached on my block. And I go, okay. And he goes, where'd you go? And I said, see you down there. And he said, so we drove, get in. We drove down, and basically, he took me to the boundary line fence, and I carried it from that fence. And that year I managed to drive, I could get my vehicle most of the way in, so it was a short pack. It's not a big block, but it was still a good, as I said. But I decided to go the easy way, which is I just walked down through the flat and all through the mud. So I got back. The rain was constant. Set up my camp under the split tractor shed. So big tractor shed, slab floor, open sides, so lots of airflow. Had the tent set up on there. Got the truck in there. It's very comfortable. Drove to town. Got a coffee. Skinned out the head before I did that shot where you can see it's kind of through the steel fence. Came back. Didn't think about it much. There's this god awful noise. Looked over, and the farm dog was trying to chew the head. Went, okay. Wrapped it up in the Hunt Tech game bags, the ones that were used in the territory, the heavy canvas ones. Wrapped it up, stashed it in the rafters of the tractor shed. So got it 10 feet off the ground. Stood on the tailgate of the truck. Got it up 10 feet high. Had visions of me walking around that thing, falling out and hitting me in the head, but it didn't. But all night that dog was in there going, worrying it, trying to worry it down. Type thing. And so I went out the next day, but it rained. It rained all through the night. It was raining that next day. I went out again, and that was it. It'd gone dead quiet. I was out of any kind of dry clothes, so I called it quits. Came home.
Didn't even come to visit.
No, I thought I don't want to drive to another place in wet clothes. So that was it. Headed home.
Broncos just scored. I just heard my son screaming.
Oh yeah, that's what that was. Good on him. Got home, put the meat straight into the fridge, waited to the weekend and broke it all up properly and cleaned it all up, cryovac it, did a wet age.
How long did you age yours for? How long did you wet age?
I wet aged it till the 13th, which was the day before I came down to Nundle. Because I didn't want to leave it until I got back from Nundle.
Okay.
So I shot it on the 2nd. I started wet aging on the Saturday, and on the Sunday I started processing. So I processed it all in the mince and steaks and quarters, hocks for Tim, and jerky for my neighbour who does me the jerky deal that we've got, which is 50. And
did you weigh the yield?
Yeah, I kind of. I ended up with in mince just over 17 kilos of mince.
Wow.
Of various mince.
Mm-hmm.
So that's mince in 500 gram bags. And burgers. So some are burgers, some are bad. The rest of it went to and the 2 rear hocks are sitting in the freezer for Tim. So because he likes doing the slow roast shanks and that, and the back straps. I got really some nice back straps. So I had a really good idea of doing schnitzels, as in pound them flat and do a schnitzel.
Yeah.
That's not a bad
Mini
idea.
schnitzel.
So yeah, so lots of good tucker. I'm up there again on the 2nd to see what, because I've still got cameras up there.
I stag or
I don't know. See what's around. Actually, there's some pigs and there's some dogs, and if I could get onto those, I'd be real happy.
Landon will be happy as well.
So basically, the combined blocks is about 600 acres.
Good size.
Yeah, well,
Decent.
the back, but it's combined about 600 acres. But I kind of don't shoot parts of it. I just don't like shooting parts of it because the way that where it's facing and what you're facing and stuff like that. Though they're talking one of the landowners is talking to the neighbour who's got a big chunk of it that runs behind it about me getting on there because they like having me walking around there and keeping an eye on things. So yeah, a quick and dirty raw for me, but a good 5.6. We'll have to replace one of those up there. So that's
out of space.
Yeah, that's 2023 there. Last year was that little roughy 3.
I think I'm going to squeeze mine in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Mine will go somewhere. Not sure. I might move the 4 down.
I tell you what I am worried about is if I shoot a big buffalo neck this year because I don't know where to put it.
Just turn it vertically and hang it on the door.
Well, I'll have to buy a new door first.
Shoulder mounted, just nice, big, massive.
Yeah, he's coming out like this. Like, yeah. Come.
So you're doing a Euro with the head?
Yep. So the processing part. A couple of years ago, I got a bucket that I scalloped out so you could drop the head in and the antlers stick out. I put just went to Bunnings and figured out a system where I could put basically a drain plug on it and attach a piece of garden hose with a standard 12mm attachment to it. The click-on attachment, standard thing. So it's got a hose, but you just keep the hose up so it doesn't drain. But when you want to drain it, obviously you just put the hose down and it self-drains. Couple of reasons for that is I've found, because I've been doing this for a while, if you drain all the water out, the mushy stuff at the bottom is easy to get rid of. So you just let it self-drain. So what I do is I do it in the backyard, and I have this very, very big container, which it's a 500 litre. It's actually like a 500. It's supposed to be a water tank. It's just 500 litre pot, literally. And I have it in the backyard. And what I'll do is I'll move the head I'll pick that up, move it out of the way, put the head there, and let it drain into the ground below that thing. So it goes into the garden. So it goes into the garden bed. When the water's all out, I'll just dump the rest into the hole that's in there, and then just throw dirt on it. So it's probably fantastic fertilizer. Probably.
Can't imagine it's going to be bad.
Yeah, fantastic. Then I'll grab the head and I'll throw it in this 500 litre pot, and that's what I'll gurney it in. So I gurney inside that, and then I then can just flip that and again dump that into the garden bed. So I don't want to carry buckets and water around anywhere. I've got it set up so I don't have to do too much carrying. The reason, and that big 500 litre pot actually has a lid, and I've cut a hole in that lid which I can stick the gurney through and use that. So I've got this. I got this shield that I can go no blowback, and it's in there, flirting away, and brain matter flying all around and stuff in there, and I can just tip it out. Yeah, because you don't want to be, experience that. You're getting something, you go, oh, what's that? Oh, okay, thank you.
Just swallowed a piece.
Yeah. That's it. So that's it. So and I'll do that. So I'll blow as much off. It'll come off this weekend, and then just do another thing in the water. And when I've got it in, because I can get the antlers sticking out but the head in, I then just put plastic bags around it on the edge to make a seal, and then I throw a couple of. You can get those plastic bags designed for wheelie bins. The really big ones, and put a couple of those top, and then gaffer tape it, and that seems to lock in the flavour.
Nice.
So it doesn't stink out.
But that's what I do.
It doesn't. The flavour's in there, but it doesn't stink out. So
cool.
That's it. And yeah, as I said, there's also a smaller bucket that's got 3 wild dog heads in it that we got from Nundle. Old ones that were hanging on a fence. So I'm going to see what those skulls look like as well. So that was my red deer for 2025.
Let's hear the great adventure.
The great adventure, yeah. Well, this is if I haven't said it before, I'll say it now. And if I have said it before, I'll say it again. It's my first dedicated red raw hunt. I've never done it before. As part of clubs I've been on committees where younger hunters, if they want to book in the rut on the raw on blocks that we had access to, they had to be accompanied by a senior member of the club. So I've done my duties that way. And I think mainly because back then the cost of shooting a stag was too much. A lot of properties put price tags on stuff, and this particular property that we were hunting on 15 years ago, they had pretty big price tags on them. So I was happy to walk around and experience the raw and all the fun that it was on somebody else's dollar. So I chaperoned instead of pulling the trigger, which I was fine with. So that's why this is the first time I've done it. I've done a red hunt in New Zealand before and been quite successful with that, but not in Australia. So it was pretty cool. And we've talked about it a bit. You'll probably hear you will hear it on a previous podcast where we spoke to Lawson from Nature's Perks in camp when I went on a pre-scout weekend, the weekend prior to my hunt. I think it's pretty lucky of me to be able to get access to pre-scouting as well as the hunt, because I've been thinking about this quite a bit. I think if you book in with somebody to go on a guided hunting trip, I think the expectations there are that you rock up on the day ready to hunt. They've done a lot of that pre-scouting. They've done a lot of that work, and I kind of liken it to you're condensing your hunt by paying money and outsourcing a lot of that pre-work to somebody else, and then you go about your business when you get there. And you're still going to hunt it, but they're going to point you to various parts of the property where they think things are happening, and they're going to follow you along and give you a hand. So, you'll hear a bit from Lawson on that podcast if you haven't heard it before, but it was him that I did the hunt with. And normally, paying for hunts up until recently has not really been my thing. I'm a big advocate for public land, and I wrestled with this. I know, Mark, I spoke to you about it, and I was wrestling with the concept, and I was, what are your expectations? If you're paying money, should you have expectations of larger animals? It's still, we're not behind wire or anything like that. It's still free-range animals that are coming onto the block for the raw. They don't live there. They come in chasing the hinds, and then they disappear again. So who knows what's going to show up on the day? So I was kind of wrestling with all of this stuff as I was, watching the clock tick down over 8 months from when I booked it until now. And the closer I got, the more thoughts and crazy I had going on in my head about what I should expect. And I think that was amplified a bit because during the pre-scouting, there wasn't a whole lot going on prior to the rut. The animals were obviously still coming in. And maybe it was a week and a half to 2 weeks prior to the hunt. There was stuff going on. There was certainly rubs and scrapes and things going on, but we weren't seeing a whole bunch of animals, which was a bit of a surprise. I'd been there a year before just to check the place out and saw a small mob of deer, took a young spiker just as a taxidermy demo thing. But there just wasn't a whole lot getting around. And I know that they're there because, I've had these conversations with the property owner and with Lawson about the volume of animals that are getting around. So there were high expectations. Anyway, fast forward to the hunt itself. After all the planning, we get in on. So I had 2 days of hunting booked, and I love the optimism of Lawson. I said, "How many days?" Because I didn't even know how many days I'm booking in for. He said, "Oh, we should probably go 2 just to be safe." I said, "Oh," I said, "I expect we'll probably get it done on the first morning." All right. Okay, cool. So we'll aim for that, but let's keep another day up our sleeve. And then he ran a competition as well. And in that competition, somebody won a red stag hunt. So that person was coming in 2 days before me, which gave me the opportunity to come in 2 days before my hunt, settle into camp, and just, have a look around prior. So that was a good opportunity as well. Anyway, that all went on while we were there. And I got to start my hunt a day early. So I had 3 days to do the job. I got in on the afternoon of the Thursday, and I had some trouble. This is probably the same day, Jono, that you were having trouble getting over the creek.
Yes,
because
the day after the rain stopped.
Right. So I got in and I get to the creek and it's totally flooded. There's no way into this block. And I was looking at it and I was thinking, do I give it a shot? Nah. I've got my car, I've got a trailer, I've got the Polaris on the back. This is just chaos if I go through here and the car tips over. So I decided to wade it. It got up to me waist, and I could barely stand up in it, and I was only a quarter of the way into the river. There was no way a car was going through that. So I had to back out. Funnily enough, technology these days saves the day. I was able to get on the Zolio, then a message up to Lawson to say, hey, was this creek swollen when you come across, or is it recent? And he's like, yeah, it was swollen, it was sweet. I said, I'm not sure it's sweet anymore. So I got the Starlink out, and I was able to video call him from the bottom of the gully and show him what I was looking at. He's like, oh, no, that's bad. No, you don't want to be doing that. There's another way in. So that other way in, I had to go an hour back, and then I made it into camp, and it was cool. But I got there a bit late. So it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Wilson says, okay, let's go to this gully that we've been e-scouting for ages. And I was really keen to go. So off we went, jumped in the Polaris, flew to the other side of the property. This is a 15,000 acre property as well, except we had the whole thing to ourselves. We weren't carving it up. And we get to this gully, and we're standing on the top of this ridge, and there must have been 6 or 8 stags going off. And I chucked a post up, and I was just beaming, grinning from ear to ear, like all of this noise that was going on down the gully. It was just crazy good. So anyway, we were there. It was so good, in fact, that I jumped off the Polaris, grabbed my rifle, ran down the fence line to the gully to see what was going on, and left the bolt and the ammo in the glove box of the Polaris. Anyway, excitement gets you. So we just sat there and listened. We weren't actually going to zip down there and go hunting because it kind of wanted to document some of this with cameras, and we had camera guys coming, and they wouldn't arrive until the next day. So I was like, and it'd have to be pretty damn special to walk out and meet it, blow it away before the camera crew show up. So it was probably a blessing in disguise, really, that the bolt and stuff got left in the Polaris. But anyway, back to camp, got settled in, and it's a great facility that he's got access to. It's very bush camp, but Lawson as a host looks after everyone pretty well. So that was pretty cool. The next day, we're up early. We're doing 4 a.m. starts, up for a quick feed, and we got a little bit of distance to cover to get across the block. So off we went, parked up, walked, I don't know how far, 15 minutes or something, up over a little ridge. And as soon as we get to the spot where we think we want to start hunting, up over this little ridge, which was masking all of our noise behind us, we just get to the top, off they go. You can hear them down in the gully. And say, holy, they're on. So there were 3 or 4 down in front of us. And as we were walking down towards, just getting the sneakies on, one of them racked up right in front of us. So, oh, this is really cool. Like, so I had to drop the pack, get the rifle off the pack because I had it strapped on. I expected we were going to have to walk a bit further. And I had this interaction, which we caught on video, which is quite special. I walked into, I reckon, within about 15 to 20 meters of a stag. It was just over the edge of a spur. And right in front of us, in the video, you can see it just thrashing the living daylights out of a young sapling. And I was whispering to the guys behind me, come on, let's go have a look at it. And he's right there. I could see his body, but I couldn't see what was going on with him. And anyway, someone snapped a twig, and he sort of big grunt at us, and off down the hill he went. So I didn't get eyes on him other than his back and the fact that he was thrashing us. And it was so close, so it was pretty cool. And he was, loud. And Mark will tell me he sounded young when I get the audio out. Probably because he was young, but we didn't know that at the time. He's gone down the gully, come back up the other side to catch our wind. So he's come all the way back around us to figure out what the hell's going on. So he didn't see us. And he roared up behind us. And Lawson and I were standing there having a chat. I was feeling the ground. The ground was warm. You could smell he was there. We were looking at the thrashings, all of that stuff, just having a good look at it. And he roared up behind us. So we spun around, walked about 15 meters up so we could see over the edge of this little spur that we're on. And there he is, front on, just staring at us through the brush, which is a little photo that I chucked up the other day of him hiding in the trees. So he was a young 4x4, and he just stood there and let us watch. We got the cameras, and we moved around, and he was fine. It was really good. And then eventually got the shits, and he turned tail and ran off, which was fine. So off we went, and we walked around that block chasing roars all morning before we packed it in and went back to camp for a bit of a feed and a rest. And various times over the next 2 or 3 days, we got in close to animals. We got in close to a little group of hinds and spikers. We got a couple of hinds here, a couple of hinds there, but no big mobs of anything had really showed up. So we also felt like the roaring had really stopped in the area that we were. And I just feel like we were 3 different hunt sessions into the same gully. We'd smelt it up and it would shut shop pretty much. We'd quieten them down, or they'd moved on a little bit. So we decided that we were going to make another play. So that was Saturday. Saturday afternoon, we decided to go to a totally new part of the block, the highest point on the block. Beautiful views, huge, big mountain views. And we could sit up there and we could just listen for what was going on and just see if we could make a game plan for the next morning. So while we're up there, off to our right, a couple of stags going off 400 or 500 meters away in the thick bush. Chasing them on last light was never going to happen. Off behind us on the same side, another couple going off, and then off to the left-hand side, back towards the centre of the farm, 5 or 6 of them, just go and spazzo over there. So we thought, okay, we'll make a game plan tomorrow. There's probably no point in chasing them into the bush. If we've got them out in more open country, we'll go and chase those ones. So we decided to get back up on there at first light and just listen again and see if they were still holding positions. And as we did that following morning, which was now the Sunday morning, which was last day of hunting, there was one right in front of us. First light, not even first light, still in the dark, still under red torchlight. There was one probably 200 metres in front of us, straight down a spur, grassy spur. And at the bottom of that spur, there was just a little pocket of trees by a dam. It had to be in there. But I'd be interested to know how well they see in the dark. I know they're nocturnal. They must see pretty well in the dark. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they could see pretty well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say cat size, but
on
I
a
could say
grassy spur above where they're hanging out, they're probably going to see you.
Yeah. I would assume that they'd,
waist deep in the grass.
They'd pick up movement, if you were
probably couldn't make it out what it is, but
that's right. If you were to back yourself up against a tree and something like that, or and stand still, I would think you would just blend in.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what their vision was like at night. I know they.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. I think their sense of smell is what it all comes down to.
We had all
and
that
the
perfect.
wind.
We had awesome wind.
Yeah, that's everything.
Awesome wind. Yeah, I mean, it was probably the first morning that we decided we were going to start roaring back at them. And my view on that, and it's still my view on that, is they've been yelling at each other for the last week, and you've just introduced a totally different animal in close proximity to them. They're probably going to shut up and try and figure out what the hell's going on, because their friend George, Peter, and Mark over there in the corner, and now we've got Andrew. Where the did he come from? And I just feel like it shut them up. But anyway, that's what it was. We went down there to have a look for him, and he sounded just magnificent. As soon as we got to within distance, we were waiting for the sun to come up and have a look at where he was holding out. That was the last we heard of him. So we had to make a play, and we went back to our original game plan, which was to head back towards the centre of the farm where we hadn't been at all so far and chase the ones that were really vocal. So we did. We had the Polaris, which was great. So we had to cover, reasonable speed. Probably took us 15 to 20 minutes to move locations. So you're covering a reasonable amount of ground. And we got to the spot. We just held the Polaris back behind a ridge again, and then climbed up over and waited to listen. All of a sudden, there's hinds there. And it's hinds we hadn't really seen before. There were decent numbers of them. There were lots of roaring around them. And we thought, finally, we've found where they're actually hanging out and holding them. So we had a bit of an interaction with some hinds and calves. And then there were 3 specific stags that were going off, left, right, centre. We thought, okay, we'll go for the centre and we'll adjust as we need to. So off we went, wandering down the track, trying to just close the gap as much as we can. But in the back of my mind, Mark's voice saying, if you've got one roaring, just walk at it, just go at it. Don't muck around too much, just, close the distance. So that's what we were doing. Lawson's view on the whole thing was exactly the same. Cover the ground, get in there quickly, stay under cover, but, get within some sort of range so you can start to assess. As we're standing there looking, the guy on our left rared up real loud. So he's now really close. He's within 400 metres. And off to our left, there's a high ridge, which would have been where we were is probably 600 metres to the top of that high ridge. And then in front of that was a lower ridge, which was probably 400 metres away. And then we had, the gap in between. We figured if we could get to the base of that small ridge, we could get up on the away side, climb up onto a thicket of trees that was at the top of it, and we'd have a 200 to 300 metre look to the top of that other ridge where he was going. Well, as soon as we got to the top of that middle ridge, there's a group of hinds feeding between us and where he was roaring, and he was roaring hard out. So we knew exactly where he was now. He's in a little thicket of trees at the top of that other ridge line, 360 metres from where we currently were, with a mob of hinds in front of us. So we're kind of pinned back. We couldn't get too much extra distance. So we thought, if we go back around, we can come up the other side, and we've got some good cover with some, I'll call it shrubbery. Others will call it weeds, but we could hide in the shrubbery. But as soon as we got round to where that plant matter was, there was another 5, 6, 7 hinds just over that side. So we're kind of pinned on all sides. So the only way we're able to close the gap now is to basically truck and trail each other. So I went first, and everyone just tucked in behind me, and we just put a big tree in front of us, and we just marched forward to a bunch of trees that were there, and we managed to do that somehow undetected by all the eyes. And now we were at about 300 metres, which I was zeroed for. I was happy with 300 metres. Fortunately, though, even though I had a decent lean on a tree, and old mate had come out of his thicket and come down chasing a hot hind, he was now in the open and we could see him. My heartbeat was going so hard out that every time I was trying to line it up, I was like, dum, 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 dum. I couldn't do a leaning post shot on that animal at 300 meters. There's no way. So I figured I had to do something else. Now, in front of me, about 40 meters away, was a dead pile of trees. So, right, this is where I leave the boys. The dog's in behind me. She's creeping along behind me. Lawson and the camera guys, Tommy, they stayed in the thicket of trees. They dare not move out of there because they didn't want to blow the whole thing up. And I belly crawled into a lot of trees. So this deadfall. And he was so preoccupied with this hot hind that I probably could have yelled at him. He wouldn't have done much. But as I was closing in on him, he was closing in on me. And by the time I got to the logs, I was probably at the logs for 10 seconds before I pulled the binos up, ranged him at about 260 metres, and then 10 seconds later I drilled him. So I got him straight through both shoulders. We've been talking about where to hit him in previous podcasts because I'm always a heart lunger, but we've talked about immobilising him so he just can't go anywhere, just straight through the shoulders, and it's exactly what happened. The 150 grain pill straight through those front shoulders. He stopped on the spot. He didn't drop, he didn't fall, he just stood there because he couldn't move his front legs. He was just kind of balanced on his back legs. His hinds ran off up the hill in front of him and he tried to chase them. He got about 10 horrible steps forward, just sort of bouncing like a kangaroo without putting any weight on his front legs. And I hit him again through the front shoulders. So he had 2 in the front shoulders and he still didn't fall over. He just would not go down. Again, I reloaded and he was now just sort of facing into the scrub watching his girls run away. And I hit him again in the back of the neck, spine, and that was it. He fell over. He was done. But man, did he soak up some lead. And I thought, when I look back at the shots, I'm like, did I miss him with that second one? Surely I didn't miss him with the second one. But we recovered. We found all the holes. All the holes were there, and he was a bruiser, man. He just soaked that stuff up. So that was that. I sat by that log pile, and the guys come running in, and we high-fived and cheered, and we couldn't actually believe that after all of the planning and everything that went on, I didn't really want to be there Sunday afternoon. Like you, Jono, I'd kind of suggested I might be home earlier than midnight. So for us to pull it off right at the last minute with, all the people that were in the entourage with cameras and bits and pieces, it was a pretty cool moment. So that was that. Dog found him in the grass. We were looking a little bit too not far enough. We hadn't gone far enough up the ridge to find him. Dog found him. And then we just set about taking photos and getting some good video and that sort of stuff to capture for later. So now, being on a paid hunting trip, it was my opportune moment to say, hey, Lawson, you should go get the Polaris, buddy. So off he went. And about an hour later, returned with the Polaris, to which we tried to load this 200-plus kilo beast onto the back of it, which we did manage to do eventually with a little bit of ingenuity. And that was off back to camp. Now, he took care of that animal so well. Again, one of the things about going on a paid guided trip is once that action's done, if you don't want to participate in the rest of it, that's their job. They take care of all of that. They're going to butcher it. They're going to cape it. They're going to get it ready, however it is that you want to get it ready, and that's exactly what Lawson did. Now, I could have helped, and it's not that I didn't want to help. It was more that I didn't want to ruin anything. I did want to take the whole head skin off and get it head caped properly so that it could be mounted if I wanted to, and we're just waiting on a decision whether I do that or not. But at the moment, I'm dealing with the head in the bucket of water like the rest of you. It can go up on my wall as a Euro mount until I'm ready, and the skin's in the freezer. If I decide I want to get it done, they're going to lop those antlers off anyway and put it on a mould, and then I've got the skin ready to go. So that's a decision for another day. But that whole process, they took so much care of that animal. They took it in, they put it on pristine, canvas underneath shade, and they went about their craft and pulled it apart and did everything that we needed to do with it. So yeah, it was really good. They did a great job.
Cool. Yeah. 3 very different experiences.
Oh yeah, very much so. Yeah. So I said I wrestled with the whole idea, but I can't recommend it enough. It was a really good experience. I think we were probably, to your point, Jono, we were there early. The roar was definitely on. It was noisy. There was stuff going on, but these animals, I called the guy that I shot, he was a bruiser. He was scarred up, but he wasn't scarred up from this year. He's just an old battle hardy thing.
Yeah.
The animals that we were seeing were smaller.
So
they were younger ones, and I think at that time of the year, they're the ones that are taking their chances. They're the ones that are active and getting around. We would have heard no less than 30 individuals over over the course of the 3 days. There were 6 or 7 here and 5 or 6 over there and another bunch over there. So there were a lot of animals around, and there were a lot of them that weren't showing themselves.
Yeah.
And I suspect they were the bigger, older, cagier ones. The young ones.
There was a couple I heard really high up that were roaring, nice, deep, sounded old. Lots of youngsters getting around, as you say, trying to round up the Hans. I know guys who went out the week after and the week after that were the bigger, older stags came out. They got some really, really old boys. So I think it was just a bit early this year. It was an odd one with the weather. I think the weather played a big part. But you can't. You can't
pick it.
No, not on an individual year. We work on an idea of this is when it's going to happen and things like that. But the individual variances are just individual variances are just too great. Because like the year that I didn't see any deer, I started to see them now.
Yeah,
and I saw 2 big stags at distance. That's why I want to go up next Friday.
I saw a post today saying that they're still roaring their heads off up there.
Yeah. Well, I've heard roars right into late May. You're kind of going, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, well, those girls cycle a couple of times, right?
They might do, yeah. That's it. They may very well do if it doesn't happen right. So.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of Hans with quite young fawns, so I don't know if they cycled twice or if they cycled late.
Yeah.
But they looked young. Very young.
Yeah, well, on the trail cam, some of the deer on the trail cam are, okay.
Yeah.
I would have thought it was a bit bigger by that now, but no, they were quite small.
So I don't know if they cycled twice last year or if last year was just late as well. I'm not sure. I didn't hunt the raw last year, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we got some on trail cam. The fawns are as big as you'd expect them to be.
Yeah.
But so in the end, he was a rough 5 by 6. I said I didn't want to take a young 4. I really didn't want to take a young animal, so I was stoked that the big guy showed up. The big guy, the old guy showed up. He's got some character. I'm happy with him, and he'll find a place on the wall in here. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I need to stop being so trigger happy on the last morning. It's when I always seem to shoot them. It was a tough week, and I just thought I'll take them.
I went the 180s. And I wasn't intending to, but since we're going to Samba, I decided that rifle's just set up for deer for this season. So that 180, there's no comeback. If you hit them properly with that thing, that's it. Lights out.
Yeah, I used the 150s.
They
really
fall
happy
fast.
with them. Psycho 150s, really happy with them.
Yeah. So, my couple of questions that I'll chuck at you. Johnny, you partially answered it. What makes a deer sound young? Because I saw some pretty small stags that sounded like they had very big balls.
So this year I was actually thrown off on 1 or 2 occasions. I heard some big, really deep roars that they sound like they just got rough, like they've been smoking 20 a day for 20 years is what, and to me that's what a big stag sounds like, is something that's smoked 20 a day for the last 10 years.
Yeah. But that's what I was hearing.
That roll and that deep and that, it just sounds like they're coughing up some phlegm at times, To me, that's what a big, deep stag sounds like. I find the younger ones go on longer. They seem to drawl on a little bit, and I could be wrong. That's just my view, but they just seem to whine a little bit, like they have this little bit of a whinge as opposed to But this year I had a stag that was roaring, and I thought this is a cracker. And I went up, and when I saw him, he was just a young 4. So, look, I'm happy to be proven wrong. I sort of seem to think that, if they sound like they're smoking 20 a day, it's typically a big stag.
I've thought about this a lot. To me, and this is, again, there's no science behind this. The bigger guys do that kind of... It's like...
They're trying to clear a bit of phlegm out.
It's almost like they go, like, shut up. This thing's going, they just go, shut
Settle
up.
down, son.
It's like... And you go, oh, okay. It's like this kind of authority that's got... It's just this... so you'll get that, that kind of rolling that, and then you hear that, okay. Yeah, it's just, it seems more authoritative to this. I don't know if that's, but it's very difficult to describe, but that's what I find. I find that, you get the young ones, they might be a bit moony, they'll be carrying on a lot, but it's
that's
just
what
kind
I
of
find
this,
they carry on.
They're kind of,
they're like
not whiny, but they're moony. They're having a bit of a whinge type thing.
Yeah.
And then every time you see, okay, everyone shuts up.
Just puts them in their place. Like, shut up.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was
someone
hearing.
just goes, oi.
Just a real short.
Settle down.
Yeah,
Settle down.
it's often just boom. Okay, that's it.
All right. Well, then the second question, similar,
I don't know if that's
still,
true though.
still about roaring. Do you roar at them, or are you a hind callers or fawn callers, or oh God, Mark and his crow call?
That's what I use.
What's your theory? I gave you mine. I'm curious what you think.
I would like to be able to do it, but I don't feel anywhere. I feel that they would kind of go, "What? Hang on."
Like a dying cow.
That's right. So, this is like there's these deer go, "Oh, there's human here now," and I tell you why I do that. I say that because have you ever been hunting, Jono? Ian, you might not have experienced this for reds, but Jono might have. The reds are calling, and then you hear something, you go, "That's a person." Have you ever had that?
Yeah, I've been out and I've heard that.
I've heard deer, and then I've heard this other one. I've gone, well, that's a person.
I've done that with fellow.
You can go. That happened at the Merry Valley a couple of times. Where we used to hunt at Merry Valley. You could hear them, and then you hear this. Oh, that's some bloke on the hill up there trying to poach, and you're just going to go. Once you could hear deer and hear people at the same time, you kind of go, so I thought, I'm going to sound like that to a deer, and they're just going to go, that's a person. So maybe not, but that I've always felt that, you see, some people can do it really well. I don't. It's something I'd like to be able to do. I'm thinking about it. I made a caller. I might try it, but I always kind of think they're going to know you're a person.
When you're too embarrassed to use a roarer when you're on your own in the countryside when no one can hear you, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Maybe you should bring your best caller to the podcast next week, and we'll.
We can do that calling thing, like.
Yeah, well, that thing.
Well, that's the right audio, but yeah.
Well, you can understand the science behind what they were doing, but boy, that's pretty croaky. I've got an old what's the name? I got a cow horn that I hollowed out and made a crawler out of.
That's supposed to be the best. Is the cow.
The thing for a couple of years, what I used to do is I used to just have it on my phone, and I just would just hold my phone up and play my phone.
So I called a stag in with my phone. So that 4-4 I called him in with my phone because I didn't have a call, and I thought meh. And I played a YouTube video, and he got so angry and so came charging in. And
the crow call, it works on fallow. That one we got on video, he was trotting across the paddock, and we were trying to desperately set up, and I just went, oh, and he went, and stopped and had a look, and was going, what's this? So I haven't tried it on reds yet, but I have tried it on fallow, goats, and pigs, and it seems to stop them, at least stop them.
Yeah, stop them, but try and call them in.
Yeah, well, but the thing with this one was trotting, and I thought, it was on private, so I wasn't going to shoot. I didn't even have a rifle, so. But I've been in situations where a game animal has been moving away, and you want to stop it, and that thing seems to stop them. When we were on the slam, they saw a pig, and I was trying to, and every time I blew it, it pulled up. This pig, it just kept looking up, and I've done it, and I did it with goats in December.
I think it's hailing where I am.
Doesn't it stop? Stopped here at the moment.
Right.
There we go.
That might be questions.
So I've quickly Googled deer vision at night, and the comment is, deer possess excellent night vision due to several anatomical adaptations. They have a high concentration of light-sensitive rods in their eyes, which excel in low-light conditions. They also have a reflective layer called the tapetum lucidium that bounces light back across the retina, enhancing visibility. Additionally, their pupils can dilate much wider than human pupils, allowing more light to enter the eye. So they have excellent night vision. So they saw you. He saw you coming.
Yeah, but I think they respond more to movement.
Yeah, but...
Yeah,
I've been having this...
See you, hear you, they're going to pinpoint you. And this is my thing. So I'm standing up on a hill. And this isn't the scenario, but play this one out. You're standing up on a hill. You're waiting for first light. There's something roaring. You're roaring back. You've now told him exactly where you are. He's focused on where you are because you're new, and then you move. Well,
that's right.
Can't give the ghost away, right?
That's right. Look, the tree is moving. Yes, the thing
right.
that
weird noisy thing is
that stands
moving.
that moves like a tree.
It looks like a tree is moving. Here for a bit. Yeah.
So I've had 3 different people call me over this red deer roar and ask about what to do when they're deer roaring, and it's all same thing. Go straight. So firstly is get right with the wind, because they'll probably see you and they might even hear you, but they don't care. But what the wind does, I think, is as you explained, Ian, you around that stag is going to be other deer that you don't see. Mostly, it should probably hinds and maybe another smaller satellite stags. If you bump in, if they win you, they'll move. If they move, everything moves off. So because they're still at high alert, they're still prey animals and are at alert. So you've got to get right with the wind. That's first and foremost.
Always,
Most important.
always.
Yeah, I think for deer hunting, that's probably the most important thing.
And the other thing about wind, stay the hell off the top of the hills because that's where it's going to do this.
Yeah, that's where it does.
As soon as you get up on top, man, it's just going to you're giving yourself away. You got to stay down where it's consistent. Yeah, but you get smashed by the wind. You're like, oh, well, that's your hunt done. Sorry, you wasted your walk.
And that's it. Like when I'm coming up a gully, it's like this is the point where it's not often, but occasionally you go, oh, okay, it's now blown a different way. I've come up and I've moved into a different air vector and it's blown a different way, and so my scent's going a different way. And I think that's probably the most important.
Yep. Oh well, we'll call that 3 red deer for 2025. Not a bad start.
Not bad at all.
Not a bad start at all. So
early days as well.
Yeah.
Trips to come.
That's it. I'm going again next Friday, hopefully.
I'm hunting next Friday as well. I'm away for the weekend.
Where are you going?
Back down to New South Wales, Glen Innes block.
Fallow.
Fellow.
Chasing species number 2. Better get that in the bag for when we go to Samba. We can go knock off the 3rd one.
Could you imagine that? The trifecta. And then buffaloes, 4.
All
I
right.
just need a Samba and a rooster and a hoggy, and I can get the Grand Slam.
Oh, well, only. You're only
Only.
halfway. Good luck.
You're only
But
just...
I'm chasing GTs tomorrow and then chasing fellows next weekend.
Okay.
No, you do that. Good fun.
If this rain lets up.
Yeah, good luck with that. You'll be right.
Cool.
Okay, guys.
Thanks, gents.
Thanks,
Have a good
fellas.
weekend.
Catch
See
you
you guys.
later.
See you later.